Welcome to 𝐄𝐓𝐇𝐄𝐑𝐄𝐔. We talk about investing, finance, a professional woman. So current time of 1:02 p.m. on the Eastern Time on Tuesday, October 18th. Hope you guys have a good lunchtime on the East Coast, but also a good week so far. And apologies for not posting on Monday. I've been just pretty busy. Going to conferences, having back-to-back meetings. And so just try to catch up and catch my breath, if you may. Despite I'm just like most of the time just talking, or just like speaking to people, it's quite draining for some reason. Maybe it's just me concentrating my energy on to try to do my best. But obviously, despite me like not physically moving a lot, I guess me mentally and obviously verbally have been moving a lot, makes me quite exhausted, if you may. But enough of the you know complaining. But with respect to over media front, you could see that clearly on today. Across the market is relatively green, up 1% across the spectrum, and this is being supported by a positive Monday. Obviously, Mondays are typically, if you look at holistically, are green days. But it's also being supported by strong earnings report, depicting on previous quarter for selective stocks. Not saying this is like an indicator on what's going to be happening in the foreshadow perspective, but remember, it's also the summertime that we just passed, right? But it's more about the proactiveness and the tacticalness that the Fed will be doing going forward, excuse me, right? And based on what we learned so far, the rate hikes is still a concern that we have. The FOMC meeting, on how we're gonna be projecting out going forward with the job numbers and with respect to the inflationary pressure, that's still up in the air. So nothing is really confirmed or resolved yet. And across the spectrum, if you look into the market front, on just like the buying activities and selling activities that happened on the 17th, you could see that moderately, it was more like a sell day yesterday across ARK Invest and also with respect to BlackRock. It was also quite severely sold across the spectrum. You could see that we are quite heavily sold across the spectrum for BlackRock and ARK Invest, indicating that there's still questions around like what's the outlook going forward. Not sure that's anything substantive beside what we see in a quantitative perspective of how much they sold, but the actions definitely says a lot, right? And taking a look at the technical front now, I would say across the spectrum is still, we've not been moving much a lot, right? You could see that we've been kind of just like stuck around ever since the like mid September, if you may, all the way until now. We've been just gluing around like the 1300, 1250, 1350 around that spectrum. But with respect to like the outlook in a foreshadow perspective, the daily is still quite extended, right? We've not crossed down in a while. And you could also see that we are already indicating some sort of a leap down already, right? We are at the 45 out of 70, so it's not highly extended, but it's still, showing signs that we should be selling off from here. And weeklies also supports this as well, right? With the double heads and also a leap down. So it's a little bit more oversold compared to the daily perspective. And also on a monthly perspective, you could see that we are in need of some like plateau leveling off. We are also in a comparable area of 44 out of 70. On Bitcoin side of the equation, we are quite similar in terms of affectation. On a weekly, you could see that we need to kind of leap down before we leap up, double heads. And on a daily right now, it is quite confusing, right? It is looking to kind of leap down. And eventually you do need to kind of cross down to a lower level. So you have already seen some signs that happened on the 13th of October that we came down to 18,000. So, with respect to the cross section that we're going to be forming going forward to confirm on a daily and a weekly perspective, I think 17,500 is likely that we're going to be doing going forward. And on the stock side of the equation, let's see, right? It seems like Tesla is has crossed down already, and which obviously translates into the red candles that we've seen. And also on a daily, you are looking to, wow, it is looking quite beautiful, I would say, Tesla. We bounced from $200, which makes sense, right? And I think buying around these levels is not terrible, actually. It is looking to rebound. Oh, like the monthly does look quite disgusting. Like it's basically, you could see if you look closely, we were basically holding on by a thread, but the thread is being supported by multiple pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is quite substantive at the $200 level that we were bouncing at. So DCing around this level is not terrible, actually. And then just taking a look at like some other like stocks like NEO, for example, it is looking quite comparable. Daily is looking to cross up eventually. Very submerged at the moment right now. So it's gonna be forming a mega golden cross eventually. Also on the weekly front is doing something similar. Monthly. So I think the equity market looks quite bullish, despite obviously the lingering negativity. So I think a bear market rally is definitely imminent, which I think we appreciate that. But still learn to be cautious because ultimately the ball is still up in the air. It's really contingent on how the Fed is going to be triangulating the interest rates hikes that we've been performing so far. So definitely be cautious, definitely be careful. But we'll keep ourselves up to date. Obviously, stay observant and stay proactive, and we'll get through this together. Well, appreciate you. Have a good rest of the Tuesday, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.